work in Evanston getting ready for the 2015 Big Ten campaign. They put in hours and hours of practice. And now today, along the shores of Lake Michigan, their 15th and final practice of the spring. We'll bring it to you live here on BTN. And hi, everybody. Welcome to Lakeside Field in Evanston. Dave Ennett with former Northwestern quarterback Dan Pursa. This is not Northwestern's normal football practice facility. It will be soon, however. More on that a little bit later on. It's been an interesting spring, a competitive spring for the Wildcats after a 5-7 campaign last year. Dan, Pat Fitzgerald made no bones about it. So I'm going to find the best 11 and put them on the field.
And I think that's what Coach Fitz is most concerned with, is the inconsistency from last year. Started off a little bit slow early in the year, and then 2 huge wins at Wisconsin and Notre Dame. But again, didn't really finish the season the way we wanted to, so that's what they're really focused on this year, competing and, like you said, getting the best 11 guys on the field. As you saw,
also a winning record on the road last year. It has been a different spring from spring of 2014, much different. And for more on that, we begin the third member of our crew from the sidelines, Michelle McMahon.
Thanks, Dave. Well, when you think back to that 2014 spring season, there was a lot of external distraction with the unionization that was petitioned that filed in January of 2014. This season, Pat Fitzgerald was just excited to be able to focus on football with his guys. He said this has been an extremely productive 2015 spring season. This is a fresh slate for not only him, but also for this team to really step up and step into those places, Dave.
All right, Michelle, thank you. A number of position battles, but first and foremost, Dan, your old position, quarterback Trevor Siemian is gone. 3 guys vying to win his job.
You know, Zach Oliver, Matt Alviti, and Clayton Thorson all vying for the top job as the quarterback. And again, all bring a different set of tools to the quarterback position. Zach being more the elder statesman, been around a while, great arm strength, more of a pocket passer. And then Matt Alviti and Clayton Thorson, younger guys with a lot of talent, came to Northwestern with a lot of hype, and a lot of fans are interested to see how they're going to do this fall.
We're going to get a look at those here along the shores of Lake Michigan, just north of the city of Chicago, as the 2015 Wildcats get ready for action. We bring it to you next here on BTN.
Warren and Justin, or Warren and Solomon, finding creative ways to get them in the game and having the defenses to defend against them. Because like you mentioned, it's hard for defensive coordinators to game plan for different sets and different options that our offense can present. And it's, again, that's Coach McCall's job. It's Coach Fitz's job to continue to stay on each other and make sure we're being creative in our attack.
Well, Dan, let's talk about the keys for this offense, and I know part of that is going to be depth at running back, but let's talk about the keys and the storylines that really most affect this offense looking at football 2015.
I think it starts, obviously, I'm a little biased here, but with the quarterback position. But even before that, I think we really need to solidify the offensive line. A lot of guys that have played a lot, haven't played necessarily well, need to come into their own. Ian Park and moving over to center. Jeff Mogus moving to left tackle. You got to get the best 5 in the field, like Coach McCall always says for the skill guys. Find a way to get the most talented people on the field, and that's a big concern right there. Depth of running back, obviously we just touched on that. How do we get them all touches? And once we figure out the quarterback situation, we need the wide receivers to step up. More talent in the room than Northwestern's probably ever had. Need them to step up and get a guy who wants the ball on third down, like a Christian Jones. We just need more guys to step up, demanding the ball in high-pressure situations.
One thing that Northwestern has done pretty well, they've lost offensive linemen over the years. We'll talk more about the offensive line as we go through the afternoon here, but they've had guys move on, and they've been able to plug those holes. And now here they lose their starting left tackle in Paul Jorgensen, who made 25 starts, and Brandon Vitabile, who started 50 games at center. So you mentioned Ian Park, Brad North vying for the center position. But you look at these other positions, Dan, and really it kind of all hinges on being able to fortify this offensive line.
Definitely. We need the consistency. And as we saw last year, it all starts up front, both on offense and on defense. And once Northwestern can kind of solidify the 7 or 8 guys that are rotated, the starting 5 that's gonna be in there full time, you just really have to come together and gel, because in our offense you need athletic linemen, you need guys that can move around, play different positions when guys go down. But it's critical. You can't have inconsistent play from the offensive line and expect an offense like the spread at Northwestern to function at a high efficiency rate. And, guys like Matt Frazier need to step up from a leadership standpoint. He's hurt right now, not playing, but need to step up and kind of get those guys going and understand and take it personally when they're giving up sacks or when running backs are getting dropped for a loss. So definitely an interesting storyline and something that's going to have to be figured out before Stanford.
63, Ian Park, battling for that center spot, played in 11 games last year. Don't get too caught up in the numbers to the left of those names, or the letters to the left of the names you just saw on that list of offensive linemen, whether it's a G or a T, because as we've seen here in the spring, those are somewhat interchangeable. Jeff Bogus, who's been a left guard, has been playing left tackle here in the spring. You have other guys. Shane Mertz has moved inside from tackle to guard, and they're just trying to get the right combination, get the right guys on the field. But how does this all impact the quarterback?
It's huge. It's absolutely huge, because whoever is going to end up being the starter needs to be comfortable. It's going to be a guy that doesn't have a ton of experience. Obviously, Matt and Clayton don't really have any experience, and then Zach with a very little amount. They're going to need guys. They're going to need to be comfortable, and then it all starts with the offensive line. And if they can't settle into a rhythm, whether that's with the run game or even the quick passing game and the downfield passing game, if they're not comfortable, they're not going to be able to excel. It's going to present a huge problem for this offense.
Well, one thing that Zach Oliver and the other 2 quarterbacks vying for the job are excited about is having number 14, Christian Jones, back as a wide receiver. We'll catch up with him when our coverage of Northwestern spring football continues on BTN. Playmakers on the mend for the Northwestern Wildcats. Running back Justin Jackson, some surgery last month. Wide receiver Christian Jones missed all of last season. Those guys getting ready. They should be ready to go for the fall camp, Camp Kenosha, late this summer. And Christian Jones is standing by now with Michelle.
Christian, you faced a critical injury at a very difficult time in your senior season of last year. How did you persevere through that adversity?
I'd like to think that my mom helped me a lot. She had 2 knee surgeries, replacements, and she was on a walker for like 4 months. And every time I thought that it was hard for me, I was just thinking back to what she did and get over it really quickly.
You started on this team as a true freshman. What's been the biggest progression for you throughout your career?
Maturity. You come in as a freshman, you think you got it all figured out, and then you realize that you don't know a thing. And then you get older and you learn you have to be more of a leader, you have to lead yourself first and all these different things. And I think me becoming more mature has helped me through my career.
Wide receiver group has a lot of room for growth. Who do you like stepping up so far this spring season?
You have time. I mean, Cam's make plays, Pierre's been growing, Scanlon's been growing. A lot of people have been making growth in different areas, not even on the field. I mean, personally, leadership-wise, Stephen Buckley's been stepping up, trying to help lead guys when I can't be out there, and it's just awesome to see. And I think the freshmen coming in are going to have a big support group to help them through. You've
been a part of this team through the ups and downs. You were part of that 2012 success, winning the Gator Bowl, but also the last 2 seasons have been filled with some adversity. So what's your approach to this fall season?
Trying to get everybody else more mature. I think maturity is the biggest thing. When you get down in those games and you're down 2 scores, you have to be able to bring everybody else up and know that everybody's got your back. And I think with us being more mature, we can understand that games aren't going to go our way, but we have to be able to fight back, and that's how we win them.
As a redshirt senior, these guys look up to you as a leader. What excites you most about this year's team going into the fall?
Youth. We've got a lot of youth. We got a lot of guys that are hungry to play, and a lot of guys that want to make plays. And I think that's going to help us when we get into those dogfights.
Christian Jones, thank you so much. Dave, back up to you.
All right, Michelle, thank you. Thank you, Christian. I know you had a chance to speak to Christian before the practice got underway a little bit, Dan, and a guy who's meant an awful lot to this program and means a lot as they look towards this season.
I think the coolest thing for me about Christian is, like he mentioned, his maturity. When he came in, he was a mature guy. He played as a true freshman, but there were times in games where he kind of got a little too emotional, didn't know how to handle some things as any true freshman would. and to see him kind of come along these last couple of years and step up as a player and more importantly as a leader in the locker room has made me very proud of him, and I'm sure he'll continue to do that this year.
You see Christian Jones, and right now on the field, Clayton Thorson will take the snap as the Wildcats are in the team portion of this practice, and Thorson looking to throw and rolling and throwing incomplete.
You know, Dave, that's where we really need to pick it up from a quarterback perspective. A lot of times things aren't going to work out in the offense, and you got to be able to improvise, got to be able to make plays, and it's nice having a guy like Clayton and Zach and Matt as well to be able to improvise, spin out of the pocket, and that's when sometimes the biggest plays come in that improvisation phase. And we hope we get a lot more of that because things aren't always going to work out.
Clayton Thorson from the Chicago area, redshirt freshman from Wheaton North High School, and described by his coach as a true dual threat quarterback. Matt Alvidi's a dual threat kind of quarterback. Zach Oliver possesses what I think the consensus is maybe the strongest arm of the three. Alvidi maybe the best wheels of the three, and Thorson maybe the hybrid of the two, takes the best of both plus the size that Zach Oliver brings. Is that a safe description?
I think that's pretty fair. Obviously, in this offense, it's great to have a mobile quarterback, but to have a guy like Zach who can really sling it around, and there's really nothing on the field that's off limits when he's throwing the ball around just because of his arm strength. And then with Clayton and Matt, true dual threat guys that really have excelled in the Northwestern offense over the past couple years. So I think, running the ball always comes a lot more natural to guys like Matt and Clayton. They just really need to continue to take the next steps from the pocket, from their reads. And as you see here, not a ton of experience. So spring practice is critical, absolutely critical for all these guys, especially Matt and Clayton, to continue to develop their leadership skills with the guys and their understanding of the offense.
Oliver made the start in the season finale against Illinois and threw 3 interceptions in that game. And one thing that has impressed his coach so far this spring is he's really been taking care of the football. And he is, as Pat Fitzgerald says, the most comfortable in the passing game. Of course, he's been in the program. He's been through it for a while now. As we take a look at some of the 7-on-7 action here. As you see Oliver throwing, and he slings it out to Cameron Dickerson, one of the veterans in that receiving corps.
And Dave, in this drill, you really want to see a high completion percentage. In the offense in general, you need to see that, but especially here with no pass rush, no offensive line, quarterbacks should be able to see the entire field. We really want to see the completion percentage up in the 75 percentile. It's a great play there by Nick Van Hoos jumping that out route. Matt's got to be a little bit more careful, especially with these savvy corners, guys like Nick Van Hoos across the Big Ten. They understand offense now. They've been in the game for 5 years. They understand the routes that are coming at them, and they can bait those throws that Matt just made it and that turn into potentially ugly or pick-six plays.
Austin Carr was the receiver there. Alvidi coming to the near side. Andrew Scanlon, another returnee, with 1 catch last year. He played 10 games. Scanlon, Austin Carr, Mike McHugh, who's been out this spring. Those are guys who saw the field last year in this receiving corps.
Very talented guys. Again, a little banged up, a little inexperienced, but from a talent perspective, it's there. And I think that coaches are really on those guys to take the next step in their development and get out there and start making plays, demanding the ball. It's a great throw there by Clayton. And I think, more than anything else, Coach McCall, all 3 of these quarterbacks are competing, but we need to see one of these guys really step up and just cut it loose, make the throws down the field, no hesitation. And once that starts to happen, I think that's when the decision is going to make, the coaches aren't going to make this decision. It's going to make itself through the way the guys follow each quarterback from a leadership perspective and on the field. So it's going to be interesting how it plays out.
There's Thorson to Jamie Taylor, superback, bumped by Marcus McShepard. And the secondary for the Wildcats. The previous throw that Thorson completed to Corey Acker feathered it in there beautifully over the defense.
Great throw, and I think that's one of those throws that is not going to happen without confidence, and Clayton did a great job there, believing in what he saw from the defense and throwing the ball on time. Especially as a younger guy, you need to get the ball out of your hands on time, trust your reads, because the second you start hesitating, for even a split second, these older guys will jump on that and turn these, the plays that you can get away with in practice or in high school, you can't do that in the Big Ten. And I think once they understand that and get up to game speed, great job there getting the ball out early.
Macon Wilson turns it up along the sideline. So you get a little taste there of what Clayton Thorson brings to the party for the Wildcats. Big, 6'4", 210. Threw for 2,800 yards and 29 touchdowns his senior year of high school, and also ran for a dozen. First team All-State performer at Wheaton North outside Chicago.
Very highly recruited guy, both him and Matt Alviti. So fans are very interested to see what they can do if they get, Matt's had a little bit of experience, but not full-time at quarterback. But again, great job by Zach there getting the ball out early. Especially in 7-on, need to get the ball, need to get in the habit of getting the ball out of your hands, trusting your reads, and just letting it rip.
Crossing route to Solomon Vault there. So here's Oliver.
Very interested to see how Zach continues to lead this team, being the fifth-year senior, especially in these team drills. It's a great play by Nick Van Hoos, understanding the route concept and jumping that flat route. But again, Zach, like Dave, like you mentioned before, needs to take care of the ball, and that's a good miss. He missed outside. That's what it's basically his wide receiver's going to catch it, or no one's going to catch it, and that's what Zach needs to continue to understand. That at the end of the day, games are decided by turnovers, and while we want him to be aggressive, we also want him to take care of the ball.
Diving try by Vitale. And all right, let's find out Dan Purse's picks to click, the breakout players for the Wildcats for 2015. Well, we've talked a lot about Solomon Vault. No surprise he makes your list.
Absolutely. I've been on him all day. He's a very talented running back / wide receiver / kick returner. And like I mentioned before, the coaches need to find a way to get him 20 touches a game, whether that's kick returns, finding creative ways in the two-back sets, getting him in the slot, get the ball in his hands, because he can do some special things. And on defense, I think it's really going to be whoever emerges at the nickel position, whether that's Hall, Kiero, or McGee. Very talented guys that can play linebacker, can play safety, and are going to have a lot of meaningful reps just because of the lack of true experience at the linebacker position. And then finally, the position groups that are critical. Obviously, we talked about them before, both offense and defensive lines. It's not really football when they're playing 7-on-7. It's a real game when the guys are out there with the pass rushers coming in and run blocking. Great throw there by Matt Alviti, back shoulder throw to Dan Vitale, and that's what Matt needs to continue to do. Take those shots downfield and turn those into touchdown plays.
There you go again, the back shoulder throw to
Great job.
Vitale.
See, and again, as a quarterback and as a wide receiver, they both understood what they were doing, understood there really wasn't a hole over top, and he threw a great job throwing back shoulder.
Throws over to Jamie Taylor now on the near side. Alviti out of Maine South High School in Park Ridge, Illinois. Redshirt sophomore, guided his high school to the Illinois 8A championship in 2010 and was the offensive player of the year in the state of Illinois his senior season, and scored his first and so far only touchdown of his career on a 1-yard run at Notre Dame last November.
Great throw there by Matt. Great throw in the red zone. Again, the windows get smaller, press gets tighter. Quarterbacks need to be more decisive, and again, the throws just get harder. And Matt's done a great job these past couple of times of picking a spot, being decisive, and letting the ball rip.
So you look at Alviti. We've got more of Northwestern spring practice. Still a lot more to go. Stay with us on BTN. Go at Lakeside Field on the campus of Northwestern. Watching the Wildcats going through their spring practice, and let's look ahead to fall and the Wildcats 2015 schedule. It starts at Ryan Field, and talk about a tough way to start the season. The Stanford Cardinal will be in Evanston Saturday, September 5th. Stanford, 8-5 a year ago, won their bowl game against the Big Ten team, Maryland. And it's a veteran team with a veteran quarterback in Kevin Hogan. That's going to be a great early test. Then after a visit from FCS opponent Eastern Illinois, the Wildcats will renew their rivalry. They haven't played Duke in a few years, and this is a different Duke program than last time they saw them. Duke, a bowl team last season. They played in the Sun Bowl. They won 9 games last year. Ball stayed at home before they get into Big Ten conference play. But what stands out about that schedule, Dan?
Dave, I think you hit it. Starting off with Stanford, we're going to find out pretty quickly how good Northwestern is, and then again with Duke, like you mentioned, they're not your grandfather or even your father's Duke anymore. They're a tough team under Coach Cutcliffe, and they've been in ACC title contention the last couple years. So again, we're going to find out what Northwestern kind of is all about very, very early, and then when we get back to the Big Ten, it's the same old Big Ten. Tough schedule, physical schedule, and it's just kind of survival of the fittest.
All right, let's find out what the man in charge thinks about all this. We'll send it down to Michelle with Coach Pat Fitzgerald.
Coach, you mentioned this season you could finally focus on football this spring season. What's been your biggest impression about this group this offseason?
Well, their competitive nature. They're all hungry to get us back to the postseason and back compete for championships. And the last couple outcomes of the season have not been acceptable to anybody in our program. So that's been our total focus, is improving every aspect of the program to get ourselves back there. And that's owned and really managed with the way that the young guys have been working. So I'm proud of them for that.
And through your management, one of the things you stress is players, formation, plays. Yeah. How difficult are these guys making your job to pick the top 22 right now?
Well, offensively, I think we got really good competition at running back and at super back, and they're really challenging our wide receivers for playing time. So that's exciting. And defensively, we've probably got as deep of a secondary as we've had, and so that group is really competing hard and trying to find a way to get a different role. So it's going to be neat to see things unfold as we go on the next step of the foundation of the team after we get done with spring ball. But the guys have competed. Now we'll go move the ball here for a couple minutes and watch the guys play a little football.
You've made a couple of shifts to enhance that competition. Can you go through your mindset on those specific shifts and how the guys have responded to that?
Well, you always want to influx some semblance of adversity, because that's going to happen no matter what you do in life, and then also in football. And maybe hold a guy out here, hold a guy out there, all of a sudden randomly in the weight room, throw some competitions. And then the guys figure it out pretty quickly. We got Northwestern guys who are smart. So, we've just tried as a staff to be very clear and concise in our teaching and our coaching, and then really put the guys into a crucible, so to speak, to go out and really compete their tails off to improve and get better. And I've seen that, but we're far from the finished product, as you can see at practice today.
And through that competition, who have been your leaders that have really stepped up and perhaps surprised you?
Well, I don't know about necessarily from a standpoint of the surprises stepping up as leaders, but stepping up and playing to maybe with the way that we thought they were capable of. Shane Mertz on the offensive line has had a really good spring. I like what Garrett Dickerson has done at Superback. All three quarterbacks in their way have led and done their thing. We're not ready yet to name a starter, but those guys are doing great. Defensively, I'm really pleased with the play of Dean Lowry, and Dean has been, I think, the best he's been. And then Deontay Gibson. Those two guys have stepped up. We've had to move them around a little bit because of the injuries. And then in the back end, Matt Harris is a special player. I mean, he's a really special player. He and Nick on the corners give us a pretty good 1-2 punch.
You have a big game coming up in the fall, to say the least, against Stanford. What defines this team heading into the fall?
Well, I think like most teams at this time, we got a lot of work to do. And we've taken a good positive first step in building this foundation, but we just got to get back to work once we get done after a discretionary week of back getting stronger in the trenches. I mean, we've got, 2 Power 5 opponents in a non-conference in Ball State and Eastern, and to open up against a team that we have a ton of respect for in Stanford, and to watch them on tape in our off-season study, word that jumps out to me is physical, and we've got to get better if we want to have an opportunity to compete.
Coach Fitz, thank you so much. Dave, back up to you.
All right, thank you, Michelle. Yeah, the Stanford Cardinal with Kevin Hogan at quarterback. He doesn't turn the football over. Great touchdown to interception ratio. They run the ball. They're like a lot of teams that the Wildcats will see during the course of the Big Ten season. It's a good early season test, kind of odd. The second year in a row they're opening against a Pac-12 opponent in Ryan Field. Last year it was Cal. This year it's Cal's rival, Stanford, in Evanston. So a great early season test. And you look at the Big Ten schedule, too. They play at Michigan this year. After Michigan came here last year, they get Iowa at home after playing in Iowa City 2 years in a row. They play at Nebraska, Penn State, and Purdue in Evanston. And they wrap things up at Wisconsin and then against Illinois at Soldier Field in Chicago. As we get into the 11-on-11 here, but we look at Thorson completing a pass to Pierre Youngblood Airy, and he's knocked down right away by linebacker Jalen Prater. But I asked Coach Fitz the other day, Dan, something along the lines of what you just heard Michelle ask. What do you want people to know about this team? And he used one word that really stood out: motivated. He feels this team is motivated, that perhaps based on what they've done the last couple of years, that they're not going to be mentioned among teams to watch out for in the Big Ten. And he said these guys want to do something about that.
And I think that's great. One of the things that, personally being an alum and a former player that I've missed the last couple of years is just that fight. I think we showed it against Wisconsin and Notre Dame, but that never give up, that never say die attitude that we really didn't have in a lot of those games last year. And it's frustrating a lot of the times as a former player to see that. But I'm glad to hear they're motivated. They better be. After 2 5-7 seasons that are absolutely not acceptable from anybody involved in the program, they better be motivated. And that's a great run there by Clayton. Hopefully he was motivated to turn that into a touchdown. But as we see now, getting into the team drills and moving the ball, it's more of a game situation. So you'll really see these quarterbacks kind of cut it loose. And I think this is where the majority of the decision from the coaches is going to be made in situations like this.
I think he was motivated to get away. I think it was Max Chapman chasing him.
That would motivate me too.
He threw it into a different gear there, picked up a first down on a nice one. And this time, it's Warren Long pounding his way up the middle, and he runs into Dean Lowry, a guy who's been a mainstay on that defensive line last year. 4 sacks, 8 tackles for loss. Will start this season with 18 career tackles for loss, 9.5 sacks out of nearby Rockford, Illinois, and played as a true freshman.
A guy who just really developed. I mean, you look at him. He was a big guy coming in at probably 6'6", 245. Now put on almost 40 pounds to 6'6", 280. Really, really looking to him to have a great year and lead that defensive line unit.
Right down the middle. Oh,
great throw by Clayton.
Threads it in there, and a nice diving grab there.
And that's what we need to see from Clayton. Really cut it loose, trust his read, and make throws like that. Great quick read, great quick throw. And it was a good play by the corner to bounce back. But, again, you can't beat. There's no coverage for a perfect throw.
Thorson. There
you go.
Takes it naked off the right side.
That's a great job by Clayton, seeing the defensive end crash on the zone read, and that's an element he brings, him and Matt specifically, an element of that zone read and being able to break the pocket and get those 5, 6, 20-yard runs that we haven't had in the past couple years.
Let's watch this offensive line. Jeff Mogus, the left tackle, Adam DePietro, the left guard, Shane Mertz at the right guard spot, Eric Olson, the right tackle. There's Vaughn trying to change direction. Can't get away from Deontay Gibson. Joseph Jones gets in there. And they erase Solomon Vaughn for a loss on the play.
And Deontay's another guy that really needs to come in. Or he came into his zone the last couple of years, but as a senior, needs to just lead that team. I mean, he can play as a bigger guy, can play all 4 positions on the defensive line. And he's a guy that needs to get going early in the season for the defensive unit to play very well.
Brad North in there right now, I believe, at center. And here's Thorson. And Anthony Walker bats that ball down.
Nice play by Anthony, diagnosing the screen. Looks like Solomon might have tweaked something there, but a great job of reading and reacting by Anthony Walker.
Ball jogging off.
It's a good sign for Northwestern fans and my credibility saying it's going to break out in the fall.
Looks to be okay as he heads to the sidelines. getting back to the center position there, as you saw Brad North, he just walked by our camera on the sidelines, sophomore from Allen, Texas. It's interesting. I was talking to Coach Fitzgerald about this the other day. The number of centers that Northwestern has turned out who've been 3-4-year starters. They haven't had much turnover. It's probably been the least turnover of any position on this football team, from Austin King to Trevor Reese to Ben Burkett to Brandon Vitabile. I mean, if they get a guy in there, they keep him in, and they've had a lot of success in that position. I have no doubt that they're going to find, whether it's Brad or whether it's Ian Park, one of these guys is going to be in there. He's going to play probably, who knows, but if he can play well, if he can hold on to the job, he'll be in there for a while.
Definitely. I think Northwestern fans have been a little spoiled at the center position over the past, 12 to 15 years with, like, the guys that you just mentioned. And it's more of a change in the guard this year. Need a guy to step up. Ian sliding over from guard, and then obviously Brad coming in as a younger guy. Need one of those guys to step up as a leader, since they're making all the offensive calls. And Ian's a guy who's really come into his own from a athletic and physical standpoint. Strong guy. Looking forward to seeing what he's doing this fall.
Zach Oliver at quarterback now, throwing right. Jamie Taylor the catch. We'll keep an eye here on number 7 on the defense, Fadio Denabo at the right defensive end spot for the Wildcats. So Denabo, junior from Centerville, Ohio, very highly touted, coming to Northwestern. Got hurt his first year as Macon Wilson gets a nice block there from Corey Acker, and a penalty marker as Wilson's brought down across what would be the 50. But there's a Fadi, a guy that has shown certainly at times he can really terrorize opposing quarterbacks. And probably the best example was that game last year against Western Illinois. He forced 3 fumbles, only the 4th player in Big Ten history to do that. And I think the key for him, and what Pat Fitzgerald says about him now, he's getting better on first and second down. It's one thing turn him loose on an obvious passing situation, but he's getting better on those, not necessarily the obvious passing downs, as Austin Anderson showing some nice moves and a good run there for a first down.
I think that's what the coaches are most concerned about with Fadi. A guy, like you mentioned, came in very highly touted, and when you look at him, he's one of those guys that you want him sitting towards the front of the bus. Get off the bus first so the opponents see him, and because he definitely looks the part. And like you mentioned, very, very high motor guy on third down. Needs to be more consistent on first and second. Has had a great start to the year, but again, didn't really carry that through into the Big Ten season. I think coaches are really looking for that from him this year.
Oliver clicking there with Andrew Scanlon. Pick up a good 6 yards. And the Wildcats now will have Austin Anderson in the backfield. And Scanlon out on the left on the screen to Scanlon.
Dave, that's another one of those plays we talk about. We were talking about the cat drill earlier. It's just kind of wears on defenses. It doesn't seem much, 5, 6, 7 yards. Doesn't seem like much. A great job by Zach getting the ball out of his hand quickly. Great block on the outside there by the wide receiver, and Andrew doing a great job picking up those 5, 6, 7 yards to make second down, or in that case, first down, that much easier for the offense.
Out of the eye, it's Warren Long with some room, and Long breaking free. Just tripped up.
And Warren again there showing that he's more than just, that bruising tailback. He's a guy that can get into the secondary and break some tackles. Great cut by Warren, decisive cut, beating the linebackers around the edge, and again, breaking into the secondary. Really like to see Zach here, how he's going to execute in the red zone and the tight zone, because like we mentioned before, very tight, tight windows, tight throws are going to need to be made down here, and this is where offenses make their money.
It'll be Warren Long bouncing it out, and Long bites down close.
Another great run by Warren, showing his versatility on the first play, breaking in the secondary, and this play just kind of bruising in, taking on 2 guys and continuing to fall forward. really need Northwestern to show that they can execute in these, goal line situations, because so many games are decided by 3 or 4 points, and you can't come up empty here from a touchdown perspective in the tight zone.
Tommy Dole's in at the left tackle spot. Here's Oliver. Rolling, throwing, Jamie Taylor. Touchdown.
Great job by Zach there. Great execution all around, and that's what we need this year. That's what Northwestern needs to do. Take care of the ball down in the red zone and tight zone. Great job by Zach here, break and contain, finding Jamie, and a good throw. Great catch by Jamie as well.
So nicely executed. We'll take a break. We'll have more of Northwestern spring practice. You're watching spring football on BTN. We continue our coverage of Northwestern spring practice from Lakeside Field in Evanston. Matt Alvini taking over at quarterback here. And the team drills. Time now for the United States Marine Corps leader of the game. It's Wildcat defensive lineman, senior Max Chapman. Max has been very active, co-president of the Wildcat Stand Up and Roar program. That's an anti-bullying program presented by local schools. 3-time academic All Big Ten honoree. An 8-game starter last season for the Wildcats. Has played both inside and outside on that defensive line. So Max Chapman is our United States Marine Corps leader of the game, and a guy who figures prominently in the plans for this Northwestern defensive line.
Max, just a great leader on and off the field, like Dave was just mentioning. A guy that does all the right things on and off the field, in the program, in the weight room, in the classroom, and a guy that a lot of the younger players really look up to.
Matt Alvini connecting with Austin Carr for the completion. Austin, a guy who had a couple big catches late in the year, a 30-yarder in the win at Purdue, a 21-yarder in the season ender against Illinois. He's a junior from Benicia, California.
Really want to see Matt make quick decisions, get the ball out of his hands, and again, show that he can, little false start there, but show that he can improvise when plays break down, because everybody knows that in this offense especially, things aren't going to go according to plan. You need to be able to get out of the pocket and improvise, and Matt is certainly capable of doing that.
Wildcat offensive line. Again, we've talked about it. Changing up personnel.
Another huge play here. Interested to see how Matt will respond to this 3rd and long. Critical down, obviously critical play for in so many games. So interested to see the play call and then his execution on the back end.
Gary Youngblood, Airy, and Garrett Dickerson are the receivers to the left. Anderson is the back, and Alvini under some pressure. Rolling. Heads towards the sideline, now gets rid of the ball. Incomplete.
Smart play by Matt there. Nothing really there. Doesn't need to take an unnecessary hit. Just throw the ball and punt. Sometimes
especially
that's
with
a good
Dean
play.
Lowry bearing down on him.
Let's get rid of that ball. But we'll see. I know it's different now that the assistant coaches are calling the plays. Coach McCall and Coach Hankwitz are kind of taking a step back and letting some of their position coaches call the plays. So not exactly what we're going to see in the fall, but obviously very similar.
Something which gives those assistant coaches a chance to get a taste of play calling.
Absolutely. Which is, not as easy as it looks to most complaining fans. It is an art. It takes a lot of preparation and obviously good instincts on game day.
Something you ever wanted to do, Dan?
Maybe a little bit. I definitely enjoy the game, but I don't know if I'll ever get into the coaching ranks. I like to do it on the side every once in a while, but I don't want to get yelled at by all the screaming Northwestern fans.
What goes on, Dan, in these huddles during a scrimmage like this? What are you talking about?
It's usually a quick recap of what just happened, what we need to improve on, and then obviously as you're going back out there, what's our goal, what's the situation, what do we need to improve and do better, and how are we going to defeat the defense? I think with a lot of question marks all across the offense, guys are looking for leaders to step up and really exploit the defense and emphasize their strengths, and that's what they're talking about right now, what they're going to do. Leaders are stepping up in that huddle.
There you see Mick McCall, the offensive coordinator. You saw him at the top of the screen.
And I think Coach McCall is pretty excited about, there's a lot of question marks throughout the offense, but he's confident whoever steps up in those position battles will do a very great job in the fall.
Here comes the offensive unit. This will be Clayton Thorson's turn. Anderson at running back. So let's see what the redshirt freshman can do here. With Anderson. And it's Austin Anderson.
It's a great play there, coming down the line and making that play by the defensive lineman there. One of the things that I really want to see from the offense in the fall is just, again, getting those quarterbacks quick completions, especially on first down. So hopefully Coach McCall continues to integrate that into his game plan. Another quick and easy throw there. Great job.
Flat to Janie Walker and hit right away by Tommy Odell.
Nice play by Clayton, just getting the ball out of his hand, being decisive, and again, those short throws that build confidence for later in the game.
So a moment ago, Xavier Washington, who played last year on the D-line as a true freshman, had made an impact, appeared in 11 games.
A guy who the coaches are very excited about, obviously, a great high school career, and then coming in as a true freshman and really being a difference maker.
Austin Anderson gets slammed backwards. Keith Reinecke on the D-line. Redshirt freshman from Ashland, Ohio.
Nice pickup of first down there by Austin. Again, really want to see the short, quick completions on first down. Get that 5 or 6 yards to set up that great second down play call.
It'll be Anderson again left side. Stood up and then driven down. Ball came out.
Got to hold on to the ball there.
And lost the football.
Again, those are the things that lose games. Unfortunately, Northwestern has to take care of the ball from both a quarterback and running back perspective. A great strip by the defense. Austin Anderson had a great game. He really had right there. Needs to put two hands on the ball, and it looks like it's just a great play. A nice strip here coming in late. And I think that's what I know that's what Coach Hankwitz and Coach Fitz really emphasized. The first guy to the ball, kind of standing the running back or wide receiver up. Second guy to the party, really going after that football and creating turnovers, because it's something we Northwestern lacked a little bit last year, and those are opportunities that need to be taken advantage of.
Marcus McShepard, Reinecke combined on the tackle. I believe it was Fred Wyatt who recovered the fumble. Redshirt freshman from Kansas. Number 92, his dad is a former Wildcat assistant coach, Buddy Wyatt. And
Fred's just another one of those guys in the interior, Dave, that we need to step up. A little thin, a little beat up there, yet the younger guys need to come into their own, and Fred's certainly very capable, and I think the coaches are excited and very interested to see how he's going to perform this fall.
Left side of your screen, 35, Tom Hruby. May remember his story, the Navy SEAL, and made his debut for the Wildcats last season. Guy who's been a hero to an awful lot of people. Of course, the guys we're not seeing here today are the guys we'll see in Camp Kenosha this fall, the signing class of 2015. One quarterback in the class, that's Lloyd Yates from Oak Park River Forest High School in the Chicago area. John Moten IV, running back from St. Louis. The 4 wide receivers, and Dan, you alluded to this earlier, those guys are going to get a long look this year because wide receiver is an area of need. And look, we saw the impact Justin Jackson had as a true freshman on offense last year. It's possible 1 or 2 of those guys could see the field on a regular basis this year. Cameron Green from state champ Stevenson. The other wide receivers, Flynn Nagel, who is the latest in his family to play at Northwestern. and a couple of other, Jelani Roberts out of the Baltimore area. So these are guys who are going to get plenty of chances. I know that coaches don't always want to throw true freshmen out there on the field, but they want to throw the best guys out there.
And I think that's the answer, Dave. They want the best 11 guys out there. And right now, like you mentioned, wide receivers a big need. And guys like Flynn Nagel, kind of built in the mold of the Jeremy Eberts, for those Northwestern fans listening in. And then Jelani Roberts, kind of a Miles Schuler-esque player, a guy that's really going to take the top off the defense, blazing speed. And they got a guy like Cam Green coming in from Stevenson, a true outside receiver, a big down the deep threat, as well as a big body in the middle of the field that's going to make some plays for the Cats.
There's Solomon Ball showing some speed and then twisted down in the secondary, brought down by Tom Gruby, whom we mentioned a moment ago. How about the defense in this signing class? Yeah, there's some defensive players as well who will be coming in. There you see some of those names to keep an eye on. Simba Short, part of that linebacking core. We mentioned Tommy Vitale, Dan's younger brother. He'll be headed to Evanston this fall. 3 defensive linemen, 3 linebackers, 5 defensive backs.
And again, based on need here, I would say we really need the defensive lineman, Jordan Thompson, probably specifically to step up and have a great year and fill in for some of the holes we have on defense right now.
Well, again, we saw Xavier Washington step in as a true freshman last year. Dean Lowry played as a true freshman, so it has been done. There is a track record here. And Thorson, meantime, has him on the drive. Wings to left side. Andrew Scanlon for the touchdown.
Great job there by Clayton. Being decisive and making those the down the field throws that again change games and change seasons. Looks like a short, quick out that sucked the corner down. The safety not getting over quick enough, and Clayton did a great job of getting the ball there before the safety could react and make a play.
By the way, a flag was thrown afterwards, I guess, for excessive celebration.
Yeah, that's not really.
You don't see that in scrimmages very often.
I think Coach Fitz is happy with that. He wants to see the guys having fun and celebrating. Obviously, we're not going to do that during the season. He might be a little bit more upset, but it's good to see the guys have fun and bring a lot of energy, which at times was lacking last evening.
Well, if you watch this team practice on a regular basis, I will say there is generally a lot of energy on the sidelines, even during those rigorous midweek practices during the season. They tend to show a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of exuberance. Coaches are energetic. There's always a lot going on.
Nothing great ever happens without enthusiasm, and I think football's a grind. I mean, the season's a grind, and there's going to be days where you don't really feel like getting up or you're pretty sore, and a lot of times you got to trick yourself into getting out there and being your best, and enthusiasm and energy really helps that. So Fitz and the coaching staff really preaches that because they know a byproduct of enthusiasm is great play.
You see Bob Hefner, part of the Wildcat coaching staff. Coaches the Superbacks. Having an official with the conversation with the officials. This is a staff that's been together for a while now. Not much turnover in Pat Fitzgerald's coaching staff with Bob on offense, along with Matt McPherson, Dennis Springer, the wide receivers coach. He's one of the recent additions, and he's been here a few years now. And then on defense with Mike Hankwitz. I should have mentioned also Adam Cushing on offense, the offensive line coach, Randy Bates, the linebackers coach, Jerry Brown, the longest tenured member of the staff, and of course a former great player at Northwestern, who's assistant head coach and defensive backs coach. But these guys have been together for a while. That continuity I think is critical to, if you ask coaches around the country, keeping their staffs together is always important.
It's very important, and I think it helps the guys out a lot. I think the biggest concern with having the same people around all the time is continuing to bring in new energy, and I think that's something the coaches really focus on in the offseason.
Play fake by Oliver, going to the end zone, open, touchdown, no, incomplete. Austin Carr did not hang on to the back line.
Great throw there by Zach, maybe bringing it in a little bit, but great, more than anything, it just started with the play fake, really ducking his head down, riding that fake in, as you see right here. Great job of selling the fake, riding down, and that's what the little things open up the big plays down the field.
Well, he had it for a moment.
It looked like it came out when he hit the ground.
Yep.
Got to hold on to those kind of throws. They don't come around that often.
Especially when you're trying to win a job, right? Here's Dickerson eludes the first man. Nice move by the senior. One of the pairs of siblings on this team.
Great job there by Cam, breaking a few tackles, and again, turning something out of nothing. And that's what these wide receivers, they have the talent to do it. The same with the running backs, have to continue to make plays when there really isn't anything there.
Dickerson, 6 catches for 97 yards in the win at Notre Dame, including a 60-yard reception. One of so many big plays for the Wildcats in that game. Warren Long getting an extra push and shove there from Brad North.
Looks like it's going to be a 4th and short here, Dave. I wouldn't be too surprised if Warren gets another crack at it.
Mogus, DePietro, North, Mertz, and Olsen left to right on that offensive line for the Wildcats. Jamie Taylor will line up as a fullback in the eye here in front of Warren Long on 4th and short, and Long,
Like he got it.
just did get the first down.
Again, that's something that Warren brings to the table. A very big bruising back, and if he doesn't get it on 3rd down, I put my money on him getting it on 4th down. And a great job of staying low and continue to drive his feet through the 1st down marker.
Right, so Zach Oliver with Solomon Vault in the backfield. And Vault gains a little bit tough yardage.
Another one of these high pressure drives, high pressure situations down here in the red zone, tight zone. Got to capitalize on these opportunities, given Northwestern struggled a little bit in this part of the field last year.
Wildcats were 81% in the red zone last year. 35 of 43, but just 24 touchdowns.
And that's the biggest thing, Dave. I think that's red zone efficiency is sometimes a misleading stat because you want to come away with touchdowns. You don't want to get field goals. And I know Coach McCall and Coach Fitz really harp on trying to get, I think it's 65 or 75% of the time touchdowns when you get in the red zone.
However, the Wildcat defense led the Big Ten in red zone efficiency, 77%. So keep that in mind as you look at this Northwestern defense here. They were pretty good in this area last year. C.J. Robbins, there's Kyle Caro, but C.J. Robbins up front. Returning starter on that D line. There's Oliver, empty backfield. Oliver, that will go as a sack.
I'm not sure about that, Coach Fitz, but I guess he's trying to get the defensive confidence here.
Denebo got in the backfield. Let's take a look.
Great job by Afadi rushing upfield. Maybe he did get him there. Zach's got to do a little bit better job of feeling that rush and stepping up a lot quicker, given Afadi's athletic ability. There's guys in the Big Ten that can really blaze that end, and you got to be prepared to step up and move around in the pocket, especially on 3rd down in obvious passing situations.
4th down and goal for Zach Oliver in the offense. The rush is on, and Oliver got him open off the fingertips this time of Carr.
That's a great throw by Zach, hanging in there on 4th down and making a play like that. As we take another look at it here. Zach draws back. Great timing. Guy in his face makes a great throw. Unfortunately, Austin Carson able to reel it in. Got to make that play. Those are the type that win games and win championships.
Well, now it appears that the practice is coming to an end. And Coach Fitz shaking hands with the officiating crew out here today, thanking them for their help. Well, traditionally, at the end of the final practice of the spring, Coach Fitz has some fun planned for his team. There's usually a dizzy bat race. There's, I don't know, is it a pie eating contest? What is it, Dan? There's always something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. As a player, you try to stay as far away from these as possible, because that's the last thing you really want to do after a 2-hour practice is spin your head around a dizzy bat and go eat an apple pie or whatever they got for him. So I'm sure this will be mostly younger guys, given that the elder statesmen are pretty far away from this exercise.
You're in it. You're eating a hot dog.
Oh, hot dog eating contest. That's
even better. I'm sure that's exactly what they want right now.
I had the feeling there had to be something. Even though I've seen this year in and year out, you always kind of wonder if it's going to change things up a little bit this year. But apparently they're going to do it again. They're setting up the bats up at midfield.
You know, Coach Fitz talks about adversity. I don't know anything that's a higher adversity than spin your head on a bat and going to eat a hot dog after 2 hours of practice in the sun. But, you know, to your point, the reason why they changed it is because it's pretty painful. I think he likes to get them going. I don't know much things worse than doing this.
So there are going to be 10 teams, 5 guys each, and should be a little bit of fun. I mean, that's what it's all about, right? You got into playing football, Dan. You wanted to have fun. And
right.
This is kind of the finishing touch to spring ball and a Pat Fitzgerald tradition.
And I think that's what Coach does a great job of. You know, he's obviously a very serious guy, a very competitive guy. But at the end of the day, he understands that the guys need to be having fun or they're not going to be able to excel in the field. And there's just a quick example. Might not be the most fun thing in the world for some of the guys, but you know, he's always trying to add new, exciting things that the guys can look forward to and have a lot of energy with.
So let's see. We've got... Yeah, let's get the official rules here. I don't know if Michelle's going to be commissioner or not. I guess that job still belongs to Fitz. What about it, Michelle?
Guys, I'm trying to stay neutral right now, but as I was informed in one of the huddles, they're dividing it up into 10 different teams, 5 guys, and the reigning champion is Shane Mertz, who they have to finish after the dizzy bat race. They have to sprint down and then eat an entire hot dog. Okay, so not only are they going to be racing dizzy, they're going to be having to wolf down one of these hot dogs. I'll keep you guys posted throughout and try to have a post-race interview for you guys.
Michelle, I wish I could describe to you the look on Dan Purse's face right now. We'll call it a grimace, I guess.
Yeah, I always try to lead off this drill and stay as far away from that hot dog as possible. But, you know, usually you'll see the linemen, the more hungry of the players at the end of the line here. Sometimes these linemen need to gain a little weight, so maybe that's why they're eating the hot dog anyway.
I think it's going to take more than one, don't you think?
Yeah, you would think so.
Especially after a long practice. But it's been a great day out here on Lakeside Field. Beautiful day, and just some overall impressions of what you've seen.
We spoke about it before, Dave. You know, a lot of question marks on the offense and defense, but, you know, I think the coaches are confident in the players that are going to step up. Obviously, at quarterback, you know, a three-headed battle. One's going to emerge and hopefully do well. Then the offensive line, a lot of talented guys need to find the best 5 that are going to gel together and be consistent. And on defense, with the defensive line and linebackers, not a lot of you know, a lot of experience, but not a lot of guys that are coming back healthy and ready to go. So we're going to need, Northwestern's going to need guys to step up there. And then the secondary, like Fitz mentioned, as deep as you know, Northwestern fans have seen over the past 10, 15 years. And you've got to find a way to get more of those safeties and those corners in the game on defense.
I think we're just about ready to go here as Coach Fitz is shouting out some last-minute instructions to the competitors. See these guys wielding these bats.
Yeah. So this is always one of the things. You got to stay near a coach that likes you, and just so he counts 5 spins instead of 10 spins, because a lot of the times, you know, if you're near your position coach or a coach that doesn't like you, he's going to make sure you spin 10 times, and then you always try to bribe the coaches into getting you off the hook a little bit easy.
All right, again, don't forget we've got more spring football coming up after this. I don't know that this is necessarily football you're watching now, but there is more ahead as we're ready to go with the Dizzy Bat contest. There they go. Looks like Alvini was a false start, but no call, no play on. 10 spins, and there they go. First one through was Matthew Harris. We've got a man down on the near side, Andrew Scanlon. Another one is down. Bodies flying everywhere.
Yeah, this is the true test of athleticism, dude. Can you spin your head around a bat 10 times, and then can you run 10 yards in a straight line? You know, I don't know.
There's Nick Van Hoos trying to run straight.
Catch up here, let's go. He's right here, 1.
There you go, Jamie Taylor. He did a pretty good job there.
You're a little, might have a DQ over here, not keeping the bat on the
There's
ground.
Van Hoos getting a helping hand from Thorson. Solomon Vault, a little wobbly, but he got there.
Hopefully nobody injures himself doing
There's
this.
Anderson. He's got quick, good, nice move there by Austin Anderson. You can tell he's a fleet-footed running back.
He's a veteran. He must have practiced.
But a little sideways there. He got the handoff, however. Well, they're gaining on it.
7. You got it, baby. 8, 6, 9, 7.
I think you can hear the count just a little bit off.
Yeah. Hopefully,
Joseph Jones, linebacker.
Coach Cush just lets the linebacker get off the hook.
Take your helmet off.
Oh, jeez. Here we go.
Okay,
Now they're into the Kobayashi hot dog eating style contest. I think you're allowed to take your helmet off there.
Yeah, you would think so, right?
But who knows?
Graham Bullmore, big offensive lineman.
Got Oliver in there. Looks like we got a winner.
Who's declared the winner? Nick Van Hoos? No.
I'm not sure. It looks like his team potentially. Yeah, it looks like potentially Shane Burns maybe. I don't know.
Michelle is trying to get the winner for us.
You gotta swallow everything.
Well, we'll see if we get an official ruling on the win. Any extra perks that go with winning this thing, Dan?
Sometimes. So obviously these teams are all kind of their off-season teams, so it's a kind of a going tally, and the winner.
Let's go to Michelle. She got the winner.
Thanks, Dave. I'm standing by. The winning hot dog eating champions, Eric Lutzen, you were the leg anchor of that. What does this hot dog championship mean to you?
It's all about pride. Our team won. It's all about what's important now. WIM, baby!
Van Hoos, you were a crucial part of the bat spinning. So what was it like to run, and how many fingers am I holding up right now?
I'll say 4 right now, I guess. But, you know, I did a lot of practicing before this, you know. Came out here, preparation, watched a lot of film from last year, and came out here and we got the win.
How do you prepare for a moment like this?
You know, it's all mental. It's all mental. It's all in your head. You know what I'm saying? We just come out here and we get wins. You know?
Who was the biggest threat coming into this competition, guys?
Ourselves.
All right, confident and not concussed. They didn't throw up, and we're all impressed. Guys, back up to you.
Support me out.
Michelle, that's one of the best post-game interviews you will ever hear. And I love, was it Eric Lutzon's first response? It's all about pride. All about pride. Let's listen in now to Coach Fitzgerald.
Lutz! Celebrity.
All right, here we go. Take a knee. Take a knee, please. Pop your head. Your announcements, please. Announcements. Do you have anything?
Good news, bad news. Bad news, a lot of guys requested for interviews. Good news, this is the last time until late July or August. We'll start on offense. Clayton Thorson, Matt Alvidi, Zach Oliver, Austin Anderson, Solomon Vault, Pierre Youngblood Airy. On defense, Anthony Walker, Godwin Igubuke, Nick Van Hoos, Dean Lowry, coaches Fitz, Brown, and Bates.
Why Bates?
Man, no injury treatment tomorrow. On Monday, no surprises. Be in Monday morning with anything that's new, anything that's old, anything in between. Before 10 a.m. on Monday, come in with all of your issues Monday morning.
Yeah, Tori.
All right, Tori. Yes, sir, Tori. Mandatory?
Amanda.
Tori.
All right. Hey, we got breakfast, even though next week's discretionary breakfast, 8:30 to 11. Okay, 8:30 to 11. And we have the weight room open. It's discretionary, but it's open from 6 a.m. until 10 a.m. 6 a.m. till 10. After today, once you get back, lunch is outside the locker room like it typically is after a game, okay? Cody, what do we have?
Q barbecue.
Barbecue.
Chick-fil-A? Chick-fil-A!
Let's see if we like this place. This is supposed to be pretty good, right? It's supposed to be really good.
I don't know if we trust Cody.
Do we want to meet some new guys? Yeah! Signee. Oh, we got a lot.
Come here, young boy.
Come on, let's go.
Same ones? Tommy, go home. Tommy, leave, bro.
All right, so you heard some of the comments there after the spring practice. We'll be back and wrap things up in a moment from Lakeside Field. Spring practice, Dan Persis, some final thoughts.
Very athletic team and a lot of question marks. So I think there's a lot to be decided until fall camp. But I think I'm very sure the coaches are happy with the spring outing thus far.
Again, we saw some good things out here today and some guys who are missing, but will be back in the falls. All starts September 5th against Stanford at Ryan Field in Evanston. That's going to do it from Evanston, Illinois, as Northwestern 2015 spring football practice wraps up. So for Dan Persa and Michelle McMahon, I'm Dave Ennett saying so long. Right now, let's get it out to Lincoln, Nebraska for more spring football, the inaugural spring game for Mike Riley as the head coach of the Nebraska Cornhuskers. So long, everybody.